Hello and welcome to the first part of the God Awesome Indicator video series. In this part we're gonna look into the divergences that can be had by using this software. If you want to display the divergences, then you need to allow for these two, the plot divergences and the plot divergence labels, and click on it. So this is what you're gonna get. The green things are fractals, just to show that basically all divergences are comparing fractal readings as well as corresponding stochastic readings. The stochastic readings are set to 10 sample, slow stochastic, and the basis of the stochastics is not the closing price, it is HL2, which is the weighted value. What you have on the screen right now is three different kind of lines in terms of colors. There are two different continuation divergences. The first one, the brown, is basically a shorter term, which means up to 26 samples, I believe, which is 13 hours on a 30-minute time frame. And what this divergence basically means or says is that the stochastic reading at this point was actually lower than at this point with a lower price reading, or basically it got more overbought on the second instance versus this one here, and this divergence would have to be resolved. So the expectation once a continuation divergence is plotted is a reaction at the very minimum, which was this move down here. Now, looking at more of these continuation divergences, you would see a wedge here, and here's the little reaction that was held up by another continuation divergence that ended up winning, which occurred somewhere beyond this point. So this is a breakout happening here, and your attention could have been brought to this breakout happening in the making by plotting these divergence lines. And so you could have prepared by putting a buy stop order out, and maybe a sell stop, but also the stop loss outside, and you could have had a large portion of this move. Now there's two more of these brown continuation divergences here. What you see here is again a higher low with a lower stochastic reading, which means that it is more oversold at this point than it was down here, and that could be only resolved by a continuation in the original move, in the original direction of the original move, and that's what happened. Here's another continuation divergence that has a little bit of move up and then a break. This is a warning sign here, basically a false breakout, but it's a break nevertheless, which is meaning that this thing is not about to hold up. So what you could prepare for upon seeing this is scaling out of your longs, closing them on the way up, expecting a downturn. Now the red ones are also continuation divergences, but they have a lot longer sample size, and as a matter of fact they go as far as 256 samples out. And what's important about this is that it's an even a bigger divergence, so to speak. So this break here was more significant than this one down here, and this is what you need a computer for, and routines to find you these divergences, because most of the time the point, the other fractal that you would have to compare to find this may not even be on the screen, let alone trusting your eyes. Looking at an oscillator trying to compare values is nonsense. It's not happening. So this breakout was very important, and what's happening here is a possibility of again a break, but now on the downside. So this kind of looks that it is on the verge of turning back down, and that's just one image, of course. Let's look at the reversal divergences, which would be something like this low had basically this low is higher than this low, yet the lower low has a higher stochastic reading. So what expectation again is price moving away from in the opposite direction, like all divergences, and in this case this was the rip. But what's even more important to see here is when this reversal divergence got exceeded, that was the perfect fake out point to get in on the whole move to the upside. So reversal divergences, even though they are not they basically on a short sample size, but they are very powerful indeed. There's two more reversal divergences here. The first one gets first violated, then violated again, and fails both times, and this one is actually sustaining to the downside. So they broke it, they actually retested this area, and so right now price, based on these readings and this chart and this time frame, is basically in stuck between somewhere below this divergence, the continuation reversal divergence, and this continuation divergence. So you got basically a range going on here. Now about divergences, you can use these on any instrument. I don't have oil or S&P or yen pairs up here. Nevertheless, you could try them on and they would work just perfectly. If you don't want to see the labels, then you turn them off, and it's a cleaner look. And what's very important about divergences is that even though I'm looking at mostly 30-minute time frame, they exist and can be found and should be looked at on larger time frames, including say the monthly, where what you would find in this case is you can see the continuation divergence happening at 125.50 and all this fall, and the read on the monthly is actually different from the 30-minute one, which is saying range bound. On the monthly, what you see here is, first of all, this was your reaction going down, and you got another continuation divergence that got undercut. So it's a weak hold at the moment. Nevertheless, it held, so you got to move up, which is not very powerful. It's more like reactionary, and there's a reversal divergence going on. So if price was to come down and undercut this reversal divergence, that would be a buy point, for one. Secondly, it actually broke above this continuation divergence, and not only that, but at the moment it seems to be holding above it. So this is more bullish than per se the 30-minute was. I think this is all I wanted to show you for divergences for now, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.